Hello again. In this video, we're going to return to the concept of slicing audio. We're going to be using the Amen break again, but this time we're going to rearrange the parts and trigger the slices using MIDI, using a sampler, so that we can rearrange and create the beat a slightly different way. So this is just an alternative way of slicing and rearranging our beat. So, as before, we're going to drag our Amen break, our Amen loop into Logic and load it in. So if I zoom in, once again, the clip is not in time with the grid. I'm going to speed up the tempo first of all. 170 will do, and it's a 4-bar loop, so I'm going to time stretch this clip so that it's in line with the full 4 bars. So the end of the loop will line up with the beginning of bar 5. So just a quick recap: to time stretch the whole clip, hold down the Option button on the keyboard, click on the lower right edge of the audio clip and drag it back so that the line is in line with the beginning of bar 5, and let go, and it will change the tempo. Turn on the metronome to have a listen. Cool, yeah, that's in fast or fine, that's in time. So I'm going to slice everything up evenly again. So change my pointer tool to the scissor tool. I'm going to make it 1 beat, I think, or maybe 2 beats. For this instance, I will make it every 2 beats. I will slice it. So hover my cursor, my scissor tool, over the second beat of the first bar. Hold down the Option key so the plus symbol appears, and then if I click, it will slice them all evenly. So I'll change this back to a pointer tool. Now, where this process differs is, instead of dragging these clips around and reorganizing them, we're now going to create a software instrument. So I'll just close this up a bit. Hit the plus symbol at the top left. Choose software instrument. Now, if I click on the details drop down here, so I can see the instrument drop down menu, I can then select sampler, multi-sample, from this drop down menu. So if you can't see that, make sure details is open, click on the instrument drop down, select sampler and stereo, and then hit create. So if the sampler window, the actual instrument, doesn't open up, you can either click on the browser window here and it will open it up. Alternatively, you can click on the blue box here, which shows that our sampler instrument is loaded in. If you can't see that, it's because you need to turn the inspector icon on. If we click on this, we open up our sampler. So this is the instrument that we're working with. A sampler essentially is an instrument that doesn't have anything loaded into it straight away unless you open up a particular instrument. The idea is that you import audio and map sounds to the keyboard, and then you can play it as an instrument. So the sampler will have all kinds of instruments built in, so pianos, orchestral stuff and things like that, all sample based. But the way we're going to use it is we're going to use it fresh with nothing mapped so that we can import our own slices. When we're looking at the window, we see there's several different headers here. Anything with the yellow circle, when it's on, it means that that window is being shown. So if I tick these ones off, then I don't have to see them. The only one I want to look at for the moment is the mapping. So I'm going to turn on mapping and turn off synth. And this mapping window, you can see there's a keyboard, a piano roll essentially, going from left to right along the bottom, and you will import audio files into this section in here, and you can basically determine what keys they will sit on. And this is how we're going to map these slices here. So what we'll do is we'll move the sampler window to the side. We'll select our audio clips because we want to import all of them, and we will click and hold and drag them into the sampler window. Now, depending on the position of the mouse, it will vary how the samples are mapped. If you have the mouse right at the top, it maps pretty much all of the samples to all of the keys on the keyboard. As you bring them down, it will evenly space them. I only want one sample to be played on one key at a time. So I'm going to bring the mouse right down to the bottom so you can see that each note on the keyboard has one sample assigned to it. If I lift up my mouse slightly, you can see that it stretches out so that one sample can be played on 2 different notes, 3 different notes, 4 different notes, etc. So I only want one sample per note. So if I let go, the cursor will go over the audio files, it will import it, and now we've got each slice is assigned to a note on the keyboard. So we can go in to our instrument track, create a MIDI clip, and we can input some notes, and the order in which we play the notes will determine how the sample sounds. So I know that it's on C3 is our first clip, so I'm just going to create a MIDI clip by right-clicking and selecting MIDI region. I'm going to mute the original audio track. And drag this out. So now if I double click on the MIDI clip, I'm going to start drawing in notes. So I'll change this to the pencil tool. I think I made it 2 beats long, didn't I? So that's 1 beat, that's 2 beats. So change back to the pointer tool and hold down the Option key. Just hold down the Option key to click and drag, and it duplicates. Oops, that's not in time. Okay, so what I've done is I've created MIDI clips that are 2 beats in length, so that's 1 bar, that's the second bar, so that's 2 beats there. And I've basically got them walking up the notes 2 beats at a time. So in theory, when we play this back, we should hear exactly the same drum loop that we've heard before. It's just being triggered by these MIDI notes instead of being played as audio clips. So now, if I start to change the notes that these MIDI notes are on, it will trigger different samples. So, oops, what have I done? Right. Okay, so I've changed the order. Let's listen back. Okay, move that one. Okay, so you can also change the length of the MIDI clips. So I could have this one trigger twice. And maybe I could have this one a quarter of the length and make it a bit more stuttery. So in fact, I'm going to make this one even shorter than that. So I'm going to zoom in a bit. Okay, so this is just an alternative way of slicing up the audio and triggering it. Sometimes it's easier just to move these clips around and listen to the sound and stuff. In terms of the other functionality of the sampler, if I just open this back up, we can actually duplicate these slices again and change the length and do other things with them. But for this video, we're not going to do that yet. We'll look at that a little bit down the line. Okay, so this is just another way of slicing up and reorganizing drum loops.